Good morning, everyone. It's Miss T. I hope everyone slept well, woke up this morning with a smile on their face, ready to tackle their day. Pray that you have a great day, that your mind is clear, that God covers you and your children. I wanted to, there was a few things that I left out yesterday that I thought about for for helping your child have a successful day at school, have learn, and just help them along. Make sure that they have enough sleep. Some kids say, "I don't want." You don't. They don't set their bedtime. You do. So they need a good 8 hours. Teenagers, they say they say babies, they separate it, and so teenagers get to go to bed later. But I think the reason why I think they should go to bed at an earlier hour is because when they stay up and stay on the video games, and that's another thing. I'll talk about that. And they wake up, they're already in a bad mood. You can already tell what kind of day your child's going to have by the way they act when they're at home in the morning. So when they get a good sleep, their mind is clear. They're not having dreams about zombies chasing them after they play games all night. You sit down and have a good talk with them, ask them what's going on, how they're doing. Were they thinking about asking anybody to the dance? Are you thinking about going out for football, basketball? You give them a good breakfast because, at school, they'll give them breakfast. I don't know. I think they're stopping the breakfast program. But they'll give them breakfast, but no telling what it is. It is not breakfast. So if you have time to sit down with them and have breakfast and just talk, their day will go better. But yeah, so that's what I suggest. You get them to bed at a good, decent time. I don't know. I believe kids younger especially, sleep better when they have a good bath. They need to be scrubbed, and before they go to bed, and they will sleep so good. Now, I'm going to say this because it's just known. It's a known fact that some kids don't even have a bed. They're sleeping on mattresses or whatever, blankets or whatever. If you know a person that is kind of struggling with their kids, doesn't have this or that, even if you have an old bed, you're getting ready to get your kids new beds or whatever, donate that. But as a parent, I know a lot of parents can't afford things, but I think if you put some things aside, save up, because what's more important than your child, period, their education. If you hold off getting those Beyonce tickets, well, that'll do it right there, because I believe Beyonce tickets are whatever, too much to be paying. Just set your priorities. Your child comes first. They need a good bed to sleep in, a good firm, a good soft, nice fresh sheets and blankets. Just make sure that you're preparing them to be successful. And then also for the junior high and high school, I know everybody has a phone, but that's a distraction. So I suggest that as a parent, during school days, their only access would be to call in and out. And the access to call in and out would be to you, or to grandma, or to dad, or to auntie, or whatever. They don't need to be at school with access to Roblox, TikTok, or anything else. They're there to learn, not to play. So that was, I'll probably think of more, I'll add on, but I was thinking about those important things because those are very important. I think that they should prepare the night before, because I know when I get up in the morning and one thing goes out, if I can't find this, whew, my morning is disastrous. So, yeah. Okay, I got that out of the way. So today, what I wanted to talk about, sometimes I wake up, I think about it the day before and I know what I'm going to talk about, or sometimes just a minute before I start talking is what I decide to think about what I'm going to talk about. Or if I see something, if I heard something that was in the chat and there was a discussion, things like that, because that'll keep it up to date, because that's what people are talking about, or what people want to know about, or what people are wondering about. So today, what I'm going to talk about, and the reason why I'm going off, I'm talking about these different topics, is because, of course, everyone knows my main agenda is to be speaking about the Lord, spreading His message. But He put it upon my mind that sometimes people can't hear the message when they're hurting in other areas. You know how when people are going through what they're going through, and someone knocks on their door and says, do you know that Jesus loves you? And they hear that all the time, and they don't really feel it because of what they're going through. They're not gonna believe it, or they're not gonna want to hear that. So sometimes you have to be a friend, heal the person in the inside. Maybe they're hungry. Just you go to on the street and start talking to people about Jesus, but they're hungry. You have to feed the person first. You have to help the person first, and then God will guide you into what needs to be done. Then they're not really. They're at their lowest, and so, true enough, when you're at your lowest, you should seek the Lord, or God's the only one that's going to help you. But He sent you to that person. You're the help, and the help is to help them physically. They're not going to. Maybe they'll hear you better if they have something in their stomach, or hear you better if you have a fresh pair of socks for a man who's been laying on the sidewalk and he has no socks and it's cold outside. Just, help the person first. God is already there. He's already in the midst. But the people need to know that other people care, because seriously, in this day and age, we walk around like we don't, hateful and uncaring and insensitive and arrogant and just selfish and everything else. Every ish you can think of, that's what we walk around as. Don't care about nobody. Don't but ourselves, trying to come up. And you think that you're making it, because you can come up being evil. Of course, look, of course you will. Of course you can, because you're working with the devil. Devil has powers on this earth. He has great powers on this earth. He's not more powerful than God, but since you want to do it on your own, and you want to be successful, and that's the only thing that you care about, you don't have God with you. So the devil will take you down. He'll bring you up, because he doesn't care about you either. He hates you. It says in the Bible, the devil hates you. He wants you to die. That's why he does what he does. That's why he makes you rich. That's why he gives you things. That's why he puts crazy and horrible things in your head to do, because he wants you to go where he's going. He wants you to be in the same place that he's going, because he has no reprieve. That's where he's going, no matter what. He can't turn around and ask for forgiveness and repent, and he's going to be destroyed. So what do people who know they're in, what do miserable people, demons, know? They want everybody else to be destroyed and miserable, and everything else with them. Demons know God. Demons fear God. They know who God is. But they want to take you with them, because the more the merrier. And you sit up here and allow them to take over your life and destroy you, destroy everybody around you, and you don't even, you see it and you don't even care. So what people need to do is take a look at their life. Why don't you take a look at your life, what you've accomplished, what you've come through. Write down things that you like about yourself. Write down things that you don't like about yourself. Write down things that you've done in the past that helped someone, or that where you were there for someone and you showed somebody you cared for them, and that made you feel good. If you have no list that showed that you helped anyone, that you cared about anyone, that you just anything good, what does that say to you? I mean, because you don't even have to tell anybody what is and what isn't on your list. What does that say to you? And do you care? So if you get your list and it says you've done absolutely nothing for anyone else but yourself, do you say, oh well, that's fine with you, and you tear up the list and go on with your day? Or do you find that you didn't and have not done anything good, said anything good, had done anything to help someone, and you sit there and stare at that list and wonder, what kind of person am I? Then you're there. You can accept that this is not a good thing, that this is not normal, that you're not, it doesn't seem, because I'm sure people do good things for you, nice things for you, have been there for you. But if your list says opposite, and you see that list and it bothers you, that's like admitting I am an alcoholic. You know, some people don't like to admit that. Some people don't like to stand up in AA and say, my name is so-and-so and I'm an alcoholic. My name is so-and-so, I'm a drug addict. My name is so-and-so and I'm whatever. But if you can look at that list and it bothers you, and it just, your whole day is messed up because of that list, then you've already made a step, because you can change that list. You can start over. You can make a change. Do better. Find one thing that you feel is important. Be a mentor to a child. Be a big brother. And parents, we need to be careful. Sadly enough, we need to be careful about those type of programs also. Tutor someone in learning how to, get their grades up, or helping, going to check on Miss Louise, the neighbor, that is by herself, and you don't really see a lot of people coming to visit her, or that she has family. Check on her. Does she have groceries? Is she okay? Some people just leave the elderly, like they forget that the elderly were here and they've done a lot for the community, they've done a lot for the world, and then when they're old, they get pushed to the side and forgotten about, and then they're alone already, and then their grass is growing and their papers are being thrown on their steps, and nobody even wonders anything, and they could have been gone for weeks, months, and nobody even cared or paid attention or even anything. That, you're going to be there one day. You're going to be that elderly person, Lord willing that he doesn't come back. You're going to be that person, and there's things that are going to determine the life that you live as an old elderly person. How you treat people now, even though you're living your best life and you've got money and you're flashing and do, people still don't like you. You're mean, you're arrogant, you're hateful, you throw it in their face and make them feel like they're nothing. Yeah, you might bring them along and pop bottles with them, and they'll go along with you because, hey, you're paying. But as you get older and you've wore out your welcome, you've dated, you've had every young beautiful woman, and you've flew them here and there, and you've done everything. But now your money is a little, you might still have a little money, or maybe you, tricked it off, or whatever they call it, whatever the new word is today, and you're old, and you're sitting home, and you're alone by yourself, and your grass is growing, and papers are being thrown on your steps, and nobody notices that you sat in your house and you couldn't breathe, and you couldn't get to the phone to dial 911, and you've been there for 2 or 3 weeks. That could be you, that elderly person. But you don't think about it now because you're too busy with your wonderful life that you're living. You could have had a beautiful life, treating one woman that you married wonderfully, and then she stayed with you through the rest of your old days, and she was there by your side, and you were peaceful. And because women, especially when they get older, women look after men. Men, you have to admit, if you went to the doctor because you had a pain, it wasn't because you had a pain, it's because she said, get up and go to, I'm gonna take you to the doctor. Doesn't make any sense. Men will sit and have a pain that will make them where they can't even move. I'll be all right, I'm just gonna lay down and take a nap. That will be the last nap you take. But somewhere all over the world, a woman is saying, let's go to the hospital, and they don't care if it's 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. She's gonna get up, drive you to the hospital, stay in the emergency room to make sure the doctors are not putting anything into you that they shouldn't, because when you're in the emergency room and they're running around, they don't look up your chart. You might believe, but they might look up your chart, but they can't look up, especially if they're trying to save your life. They don't have time to look up a chart that says you're allergic to penicillin, or you're allergic to something. They don't have time for that. So that woman's going to stand there and make sure, here's his list. He doesn't have, and that's another thing, make sure when you do have to go to the emergency room, you have everything listed. Anything that you're allergic to, any medication that you're taking, any surgeries that you've already had, anything that's in your body, pacemaker, stent, whatever. Make sure your woman or whoever, your wife, whoever knows that. And you also have to go in and make sure your chart is clear, because they'll put stuff in your chart that's not correct, and then that can be harmful, because if you're going to the emergency room and you're unconscious, you cannot tell them anything, and then you may never wake up. So, and that's a true story. That happened. A man went to the hospital. He was unconscious. And they were getting ready to, well, they did give him some medicine that he was allergic to. And his wife, and they were trying to shoo his wife. You have to, they try to shoo you. Go in the, we're working on him. We need for you to go. And she said, I'm not going anywhere because I want to know what you're giving him. And so, sometimes the best thing is a black woman, I swear. Because she is in a crunch. She ain't, what? This, he might be just a patient, a number to you, but that's my husband. That's my, and I'm looking out for him. So his wife stayed there, and they're like, what did you just give him? And he's allergic to that. So they had to hurry and get that out of his system. And then after that, she was like, I don't care if you have to scrub me up and put me on some operating clothes. I'm not going nowhere because my husband is coming home with me. I'm going to guarantee because you don't care, because what happened? We tried to save his life. We didn't know. And then, they get sued later on down the line. Oh, they have insurance to cover that. But that's your heart, that's your love, and they're gone and they're never coming back. And money, no amount of money is going to heal that. So we have to make sure we're taking care of ours. Let's start there. Isn't that the word, you guys? Let's start there. Our family members, our spouses, our children, and then maybe we can work outward to those people who maybe don't have family members and people on their side. But the messages that I'm giving you, I hope that you will sit down, share them with someone, especially the important things. You make sure they know. They will give you a bracelet that I don't know if it's a donor bracelet. I don't know if it tells you what you're allergic. I don't remember. But you need to make sure that everything is in order, because you don't know what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. You won't be able to tell the doctors anything. What if your wife is at work and you fell out and they haven't called her yet because they're trying to save your life? So you have to make sure you get those things in order. And also, I would advise that everyone get a will. Make sure you have everything in that will that you want to have done. If it says that if I ever go into a coma, if something happens to me and I have to be on life support, do not pull the plug. Do not I suggest, and it's bad to say, but in this day and age, I wouldn't be a donor of anything, because if you are and they feel like you're not going to make it, I watched was it on TikTok? I can't remember. A black family, their son had put down he was a donor, and the hospital was going to take him off of life support without the family's permission. That his mother came in that hospital, had her whole family standing guard, said, you touch my son and I'm gonna touch you. You don't know if he's gonna wake up. God has the last say. Just because you have on life support, and this is what I told everybody the other day, please forgive me. I'm not pulling the plug on anyone. That is not my job. I couldn't. I refuse. Because if they tell you we can't do anything, he's we think that you should go ahead and pull the plug. Well, of course they're supposed to tell you that. They're taking up space. We need this bed. We need this medicine. We can't do anything else for him anyways. If we pull the plug, then he's just gone. Yeah, but if you don't pull the plug and God says it's not time for him to go, then he's not going. I don't have the authority to take. God is the only one that can give life and take it. Of course, He allows us to give life through birth. But I'm not pulling any plug. I don't care how many times you try to sit down and tell me, let's be logical, he's going to be a vegetable, he's going to be whatever. I'm going to be like, sir, you're talking to a wall. Because I'm going to tell you now, I'm not pulling the plug. And if anything happens to whatever family member this is, well, nothing's going to happen, because I'm going to tell you, we're going to do the watch too. We're going to gather up family members and take time, rotate sitting here, because if you do anything to my son, mother, sister, brother, whatever, it's going to go down in here. And I'm sure you don't want to cause a bad reputation on your hospital, that people go around saying that you unalive people. So just go on. Leave me alone. I'm not pulling the plug. And that's that. However, that's just me. Not telling anybody else that they would be horrible if they do that. I wouldn't know what circumstances that they would be in. I just feel that I don't have, let God handle it first. Let Him handle it. So then, if that person, what if they hounded you to pull the plug, and they just hounded you, and then turned your family against you, like, because they'll do their tactics. Someone needs to talk to her. He's a vegetable. He can't hear. He's going to be blind. He's not going to be able to walk. Blah 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 blah. Well, Jesus was on earth, and He healed the blind, and He made people walk. You don't believe? You don't believe that? And you argue with your family because some of them want. Well, just get. He has an insurance policy. You can get. That's where I get that money. The love of money is the root of all evil, because nobody in life is worth money. And and then they turn everybody against you, and you're standing out here by yourself. And then one day you go and you're sitting and you're just talking to whoever relative it is. You're there by yourself because everyone done turned against you. The doctors done turned everyone against you, and your relative moves their hand. And then you just sit there because you don't, they've been that way for a while. Well, maybe that was just in my mind. Then they blink their eyes. Then they open their eyes. Then they try to remove the tubes out of their mouth. And then when the doctors see all that, the family members see all that, they have no choice but to believe in what you were saying. God has the last word, and I'm not going to interfere with anything that God has. You will feel the feeling that you would get knowing that you stuck to your guns, even though everybody turned on you, and you were out there alone. You were hanging. You didn't have anybody to talk to because everybody was mad at you. And now they're alive and well because they can see, hear, talk. Went to therapy, got to walk again, and they're just doing fine now. They went back to work, and their life is moving on. And they find out the story. You didn't tell them the story. They found out the story that everybody else gave up on them. On the earth, everybody else gave up on them, but you didn't, and you knew not to, because God has the last word. And how they have a bond with you because you wouldn't let them go, because you knew God had a better diagnosis. God had a better cure, a better plan. And so then you can share, and they can understand that there is a God, and He loves you, and He wants you to to go to heaven, and maybe that changed it. Maybe they were on the brinks of God being gone, and they hadn't repented and turned their life to God. And now they have, because they've seen the power in what you believed, what you used to go around telling people, and everybody used to run from you when you came around because they didn't want to hear it. Like they do me. Oh, here she comes. We don't want to hear that again. That's fine. You don't have to hear it. I'm still going to put it out because that's what God asked me to do. And I believe that there are some people that are listening. I know. I see people listening. I see people coming on my page. There's not a lot of numbers, and I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about just reaching one, and that one reaching another one, and so on and so forth. So I'm still going to be here talking as long as I have breath in my body, or until God tells me there's something, I have a different job to do, or he wants me to do something different. And it's not just because he's told me to. That's the main thing. But I also care about people. I also don't like people to be hurt, alone, afraid. I don't like people to be bullied. I don't like people to feel like there's no hope. None of that. And if I can just touch someone just by just telling them that you are worthy, that God did not say I made a group of people this way, I made a different group of people this way, and then this group, and you're in the lower group, because he didn't make any classifications of people. He made everyone out of their likeness. Says their likeness. That means everyone is equal in his eyes. Just because the sinners on the earth decided that they were going to classify people, which is a sin, they'll pay for that. That's not what God does. He doesn't even see your skin. Because, well, he sees your skin, but let me explain. He looks at us all as the same. When he talks about us, he says, he puts us in the group all are sinners, all fall short, all are like filthy rags, all. He doesn't separate any color. He doesn't say the darker people, the lighter people, nothing, all. So when we all were, when Adam and Eve were made, we started off all equally. But because of sin, we have all these differences. We have these people who feel like we're going to make others less than us, make them feel like they're less than us, because they're not less than us. We're going to build a scenario. We're going to tell lies. We're going to put the fear into them. We're going to erase their history. We're going to not put out the truth. We're going to be deceptive, evil, murderers, and everything that you can think of under the sun. But I will say again, they could have, people in that certain era could have done those, but if they found the truth and turned away from their sins, they could be forgiven. Everyone has a chance to be forgiven. The man the thief on the cross, who never, you think that in most scenarios, people who go and they've been living a bad life didn't get a chance to repent. We don't know that because the thief on the cross, God told him he was going to go to heaven. He done things his whole entire life. He sinned his whole entire life. And just by chance that he was on a cross next to our Savior, who was both being put to death. Jesus was being put to death because of fear, hate, evil, because he did absolutely nothing. Put him next to the thieves that were being put to death. And just by chance, because he was next to Jesus, he's going to heaven. So does that sound like a person that sounds like a God who is unjust, who does things just for his amusement? Because I've heard that before. We were put on this earth so that God and the devil can play games with our lives. You don't know how ridiculous that sounds. But I'm not going to get into that. But like I said, if we just put in a mindset that I don't give a darn if you're driving a Mercedes, a Ferrari, a Pinto, a Honda, I don't care. You're all the same. All those things are going to burn up together. They're not. A Ferrari's not going to put itself out when hellfires rain down. It's not going to be able to put itself out. I don't care if you live in a $200 million home that you haven't even lived in half of it because it's so big that, who's going to be able to live? I call it a house. It's not a home. A home the people make it a home. How are you going to live in a house that has 9 bedrooms, 8 kitchens, 17 bathrooms? You're not going to even touch all those rooms. So what are they for? What is the purpose? Just because you can? When there are people out here who use the bathroom on the street and have to sleep in a porta potty. I'll tell you a story. There was a man here who was homeless, and we had the worst winter. The worst winter. It was freezing cold. This man tried to find shelter in a porta potty. Now you can imagine the smell. But that didn't even shelter him. They found him unalive the next morning or the day after, frozen to death, because that couldn't even save him. But people make money because they have an Airbnb. They take their homes, their extra homes, and let people use them for profit. We have people that it's just all about money. Nobody cares about nobody, especially people who are down and out. They think that that's what they deserve. That's what they choose to do. They choose to be homeless, and there are a few people, because I've heard some people that did interviews that say they'd rather be homeless. But I think that's mental illness. Maybe not. Maybe they'd rather be homeless. Some people are like, I'm tired of the government taking everything. You mean I bought this house, it's paid for, but I still have to pay taxes on the land so you're telling me I own the house, but I don't own the land? Who came up with that? Just something to keep money going into the pockets of politicians and people in higher places. Or I continue to pay. My car's paid off, but I still have to pay for tags. Once again, just something made up to keep money in the pockets of those who are in the higher ups. They don't do, if you see, most of the times if you see anything good, there's something behind it that's bad, you know. We have medicine that can make make HIV undetectable, and everybody thinks, oh, that's wonderful, people can live longer, and they don't have to, you know. But if we're serious with ourselves, if we're truthful with ourselves, this disease would not be here had it not been for sin. You're sinning. Whoever sinned. Now they want to say that there was one person who brought it first, call him patient one. Other people say it was made in a laboratory, whatever. All I know is that when it first came out, it was a disease in one group of people. We all know who that group of people was. And so, there you have it. So, the world is not a wonderful, we can't make it great again. Sorry. It won't be great again. The United States or USA, whoever, won't be great again. So you can take the hats off. You can make it tolerable. You can make it okay if you stop doing some of the things that are being done, or start doing some of the things that you haven't been doing. But it's never going to be great. It never was great. I don't know where it never was great. But, you know, they have to keep a narrative out there to keep us thinking that the American way is to be successful and drive the nicest cars and wear the nicest clothes and travel to the nice places, and those who can't do that are because they're lazy and they have no gumption, and they don't have and we shouldn't care about them because they're an eyesore to our country. We want to take a group of homeless people and push them to a certain area and make them stay there so that they're not spread out the city, so people don't look at them or don't have to look at them. They want to now make it against the law to be homeless. How is it against? What is the crime? Being poor is the crime? How many years do you get for that? So are you putting kids in juvenile detention if they're homeless because it's a crime? This world is so evil, and just I don't even know what to say. You know, I was wondering why there were a lot of people that moved to different countries, and I found out there's a lot of people that are moving to Thailand. And so I was doing some research on Thailand. You know, I'm learning, of course, the cost of living is lower, and, you know, there's a lot of beneficial things over there. But the place to be actually living is Japan. They treat their people so wonderful. I'm telling you, they treat their people And that's probably, or is it China? China, Japan. I'm gonna have to look up. I can't remember. And that's probably why they're way ahead of us. Because if you take a group of people and you put them somewhere and you treat them wonderfully, don't you think they'll um, go out of their way to work harder in their companies and all those things? Whether you take a group of people and treat them like crap and pay them less than crap, do you think they care if the job that they're doing is up to par? I'm gonna give you what you give me. So it's just we just have to be mindful. It's not even on a big scale, because like I said, it's not going to get great. It's not going to never be great. We're not going to cure the sky. The earth is not going to be cured. Food is not going to get better. Our food is horrible. It's causing all kinds of stuff. You eat it and it's just going to cause a new disease. High blood pressure, cholesterol, cancer, all kinds of things. What you should be focusing on is how to be a good person because God said so. Because, government doesn't care if you're a good person as long as you pay your taxes. They could care less. I mean, you can't be going out there and committing horrible crimes. You can commit some crimes, but not, they have to lock you up for these horrible crimes. And the only reason why they were locking you up for some of the pharmaceutical crimes that you were doing is because they weren't getting a cut of it. How dare you make millions of dollars and not pay taxes? And maybe someday, since they've made the other thing legal, if they can find a way to justify making other substance legal, they would, just so that you'd have to pay taxes and they'd make money hand over fist. This is not a world of we love and we take care of our people. This is a world of I'm going to have my name is going to be number 1 or number 2 on the Forbes list. I'm going to have the most houses. I'm going to have the most cars that will sit because I can't drive but one. And I'm probably not going to drive any of them because they're just for looks. I'm going to go on the best holiday trips and, enjoy myself. Which there is nothing wrong with that, but people don't make it the right way, don't do it the right way. It's not done out of, I don't even know what to call it. I don't even know what to call it anymore. My brain, I believe that some things that you learn or something that you think about, they fall out your brain because there's new stuff coming in. You can't even keep it all in there. It's just, there's too much to worry about. There's too much to think about. There's too much to figure out. Something has to give for your mind explodes. We're the only country that believes that you should work your whole entire life till you're 65 years old. They wanted to raise it, I believe, to 75. I don't think that passed. Till you're 65 years old, and then you get to retire. Well, how many people make it to 65? And if you do make it to 65, how long do you get to relax once you retire? There's been so many in my job. We've had so many people pass away in the last 2 years. It's ridiculous. They even had to check the building to make sure that something wasn't, going, because people were just going left and right. It was so you work as hard and then you don't even get to reap the benefits. I think if you give your company, if you give 20 years of your life, that should be it. And if you started at 18, then you retire 20 years later. That should be it. Then you get your full retirement and whatever else. IPERS, 401k. Other countries pay for health care, child care, and retire and vacation, and their people are happy and they do a good job. That's the concept. If someone is happy where they're at, they're not going to want to go somewhere else. They're going to want to be the best that they can be for you in your company. But if you treat people like they mean nothing, this company is to make money for the company, not for you. We don't care. Here's your measly pay, and if you call in too many times, we're going to fire you. People are going to be like, I'm going to come in here and do the minimal of what it takes to not be called into the office. Y'all don't care about me, so I don't care about you. So, it's just crazy out here. I don't know. I can't imagine people who don't have God in their life. I couldn't even, if I didn't believe that there was a God, if I didn't know there was a God, if God did not put things in my life to help me, to be there, to let me know that he was real, no telling, I would be, well, first of all, I could be doing a lot of things that other people are doing, just trying to get money any way possible, any way I could, because that's the way of the world. You're nothing unless you have money. Let's forget the power, because not a lot of black people are going to go somewhere where they have power to do anything. They can have power in their own little circle. But see what happened to whatever his Puff. They gave him reign to do what he wanted to do until it started affecting them, and they had to reel him in and sit him down. They didn't tell him, if you mess, when he got cocky with it and he's just evil, you have to have an evil mind to do evil things and not have any remorse for them or even quit. When was you going to retire? When was you going to stop? When you were old? Because 80-year-olds, I don't know, but like I said, he was free to do whatever he wanted to do until it affected their pockets and their name, and then it was time for him to sit down, just like the others. I guess his story is bigger, because I don't remember the others' stories being this at this great of a magnitude. I don't know, maybe I didn't pay attention, but it seems like they have to cover them people because there's other people that are involved that ruled the world. So they had things over their head. But I guess, when they give us, it's just like in our nature to floss. He didn't know how to be discreet. He didn't know how to not make people mad so they would turn against him. He didn't know how to, he just was arrogant with it, and he didn't care. And so you started having people look at other people, and now this is where you're at. I don't know if they say if he gets convicted of whatever little charges that they left on him, that Trump is going to pardon him. And if he gets out, two things could happen. I don't think it will go back to what it was, because all of his friends really left him high and dry. And then he's going to be watched, because if you beat a Fed case, they don't like you, and they're going to come after you with whatever little thing they can. So if he does get off, his terror, reign of terror, his whatever is over. He's going to wither off into the oblivion, try to make music, I guess. People be scared to be under his label, because they know who would want to be under his label. So he's pretty much through. But like I said, if you take that list that you make and you don't like it, you look it's like looking at the man in the mirror, and you don't like what you see, change it. Even if you don't like it because it's not a good look, you really don't care about other people, but it's not a good look, change it. People do that all the time. They make money, they don't care about people, but they'll donate, money to help people. That's a good look. That makes people think, oh, they're wonderful people. They go out, but they're really inside, they're not. That's what people do. They donate things. They don't have to get their hands dirty. They just donate their money to make it look good. But I believe more of people of color, because they know really what they had to go through, and if they didn't have to go through it, they know what their grandparents went through, and if they didn't go, it went on and on. So they really do know. I believe they still hold on to a piece of a heart, and it just gets more difficult when things are thrown in your face, like they brainwash you, to tell you that we don't like you, you're still not good as us, but if you have money and stuff, we accept you, you're better than them, so we put you up higher. I remember, why do people mess with me at my job? I remember when I first got my job, like I said, I raised especially when coming up, it was more white people than black people. So when I first started working at the job that I'm working at now, I had to learn that some of these people aren't really racist, they just are ignorant. Because there's small towns around my area where there was no black people living there at all. So they were never even around black people. And so I started working there, and my desk was next to this man, a Caucasian man, and he used to say the stupidest things that I always had to check him about. And one time I made him cry. I didn't mean to make him cry, but you sound stupid. But he really sat down, and when I talked to him, he wasn't being racist. He didn't even know. He told me he thought it was wrong to call us blacks. He thought that was a bad word, that he should call us colored. I told him, what color are you? And he just, of course the answer should have been white, but he couldn't say white because he was pink. And so as I was starting to, and then the thing that broke the straw that broke the camel's back, because it wasn't, I have no problem with explaining to people what they don't know. I'm not going to, just like God, I'm not going to hold you accountable, because I don't really think you're trying to be, I don't think you're trying to be racist or trying to hurt my feelings. I just think you don't even know. And if you want to know, I will tell you. But what he said is, I have never been with a black woman, but I would be with you. Like, what, like that, is that supposed to be a compliment to me? That, like, because what am I, really a dirty, filthy, what they call the harlots, and we're, almost like the slave master, that I would, I'm telling you, he never, ever said that to me, or any other sexual thing to me ever again. First of all, sir, you couldn't have the privilege to touch me. I would never. And let me explain why. I would, you, like, let me get off, let me move on. But yeah, some people don't, they're just ignorant. They don't know. You have to do, I had to continuously fight at my job with these people, because I'm not going to allow you to make me feel like I'm beneath you, because I know I'm not. And because you couldn't put me in my place, the place that you thought I should have been in, we clash. And I told my supervisor, I said, I don't care if you don't like me, if you will treat me fairly, or you'll have consequences. And I wanted to say, after that, because I went through a lot of stuff, and that about, how many years was I working there before? I can't remember, but me and her clashed the whole time. The whole time. One day I had to go and have a meeting with her, and all I said to her was, I know we've never gotten along. And then she wanted to say, oh no, I don't. And I just stopped her. I know we've never gotten along, but I have decided to give my life to the Lord. So I'm not going to continue to have, to fight with you. I have nothing against you. I'm moving on. The past was the past, and I'm moving on. And she was quiet. She didn't say anything. She, shook her head. Do you know she became my best friend? And do you know how many promotions I got after that? Because, when you're not liked, or you're defiant, or they can't keep you under control, your punishment is not to get promoted. Even though they tell you do a wonderful job. And they even went this far. I went for a job interview, and the man told me, even though I went for that job, he said he wanted me to apply for this other job. He told me to apply. He wanted me to have that position. But he got, of course, when you do a job, they talk to your, the person that you're working for, at the current time, and me and her didn't get along. So when I went to that job interview, he turned me down. And then his answer was, well, you didn't seem excited as that. Sir, I didn't even ask for the job. You wanted me in that position. So I knew what was up, but my whole game plan was to wait on God. He would, whatever it was going to be, if it was me suing or filing a grievance, whatever it was going to be, wait on him. And then that was the answer. He said, let her know you're a child of God. You walk with me. You're my, And after that, it was like she couldn't deny. I don't know if it God got into her brain, but I've got promotion after promotion, and people were fighting over me. It was just, I'm telling you, God is real. He's God, and God is good. He will never let you down. I've talked enough. I probably didn't really touch on what I really wanted to talk about, but that's okay, because tomorrow it'll probably come out. If I just keep talking, it eventually, everything that I need to say will come out. Again, I would like to thank all my supporters. I want to say this, because I think I don't really know. When I came on here, I didn't have a plan, and I don't really pay attention to YouTube. I know I met some wonderful people, and I like to sit and chat and laugh and joke, and with some. Most of the time, I don't even pay attention to what's the panel, because I'm just having conversations with people that I've met on here, and things like that. But don't ever think, if you don't see me in your chat, that I'm not supporting you. What in my mind, this is how, because I'm probably not like your regular content creator. I'm not here, I have a message to get out. I know, a lot of people do have. I know there's Shay Love, she has a message. There's Marlene has message. Nate has messages. There's a lot of people that have messages, but I'm not really. I don't know how the words to put. And I do think those people do a great job. But my whole I don't want to make money. I don't want to get. Not saying I don't know anything about, and this is not them. I don't know anything about what anybody else is doing. I don't want to make money. I don't want to be monetized. I don't want to do anything. If all those things happen, that's God's will. I'm not trying to do any of that. I just want to get a message. When God says that the messages on here are enough, then I'll move on to something else. But my support to me is, I have subbed to your channel. That's my word. I gave you my word that I sub to your channel, and I want you to be able to, get to the point where you're trying to get. If you, as for some reason, decide that you don't care for me anymore, if you unsubscribe to me for whatever reason, I will never unsubscribe to anyone. I don't care who they are. If I gave you my word, if I subscribe, that's like I gave you my word. I'm going to support you, and that's that. You could have called me every name in the book. You could have did a live on me and said, well, I'm never going to unsubscribe. That's just me. But I support any black person doing anything. And I hope it doesn't sound like I'm racist or I'm against any other race, because I'm not. I love everyone. I'm there for people who are there for me, no matter what their color. But I use black people because that's who I am. That's me. That's who I am. When I look at you, when I see you, I see me. If you're struggling, I'm struggling. If you're up, if you making it, I'm making it. That's how I see things. I treat you not the way you treat me. I treat you the way God treats me. Point blank, period. So I'm not going to do anything to try to bring you down, try to mess up your life or anything. That's not that's not me, and will never be me. That wasn't even me before I decided to return myself back to the Lord. So you don't have to worry about that. If I sub to you, that's where it's going to stay. But I do support everyone. I try to, from time to time put people's names, and I'm going to do that more. I try to go by if I see you on and give you a like or whatever. Some people have this whole thing, and I'm not supporting you if you don't support me. I'm taking your ranch. I'm unsubscribing. That's them. I don't care about. First of all, I don't care about a wrench. I don't know. I guess that I've asked, and I guess that's a wrench means you're important in the chat, or maybe it means whatever. I don't care anything about a wrench. I can be in the chat and not have a wrench to hold and continue to come back. Doesn't make me any difference. So maybe I am a little different than some people on here. Maybe people might think I'm a little weird. People might think I'm whatever, and I don't care. So you can think what you want. Once again, the only person I care that thinks of anything about me is my Lord and Savior. And now that I got that out of the way, I want everyone to have a blessed day, a wonderful day. I want you to think about what I said about your list. Do you really care about people? Or are you just are you just out for yourself, and you could care less if how many people you stomp on or step on, or how many people you get rid of to get them out of your way? Or are you that kind of jealous type of person that you would try to destroy somebody's life just to get them out of your way? And I would truly hope that there's no people that I know that are like that. But I don't know, maybe they are. Anywho, I truly am grateful for you guys. I truly hope that God shows you a better way, that you are taking some of these things, even if you're just taking some things like praying in the morning. I promise you, pray in the morning, tell God what you need, what you want, ask Him to help you, and see if your days don't come out different. Tomorrow, like I said, we'll learn what we're going to be talking about tomorrow together, because like I said, I've just decided to let God put in my mind or in my heart what is, what needs to be said. Because if I decide, okay, I'm going to talk about this, maybe someone needed to hear something that God wanted them to hear. So I just let it pop into my head when He pops it into my head. So until tomorrow, stay safe, be blessed, treat everyone fairly, treat everyone like you want them to want to treat you, and just be kind to one another. Try something different. That's all. Have a good day.